Hello and welcome. Today, we're diving deep into a major strategic move that could reshape the future of weight loss and metabolic health. AstraZeneca just announced its acquisition of SixPeaks Bio, and this isn't just another corporate deal. It's a bold step into what many are calling the post-GLP-1 era. We're moving beyond simply losing pounds on a scale and into a new world focused on preserving muscle and improving overall body composition. Let's break down what this means for medicine, for patients, and for investors. AstraZeneca has officially exercised its option to fully acquire SixPeaks Bio, a company it helped create with Versant Ventures. The deal is valued at up to $300 million. Well, that might sound like a lot for a giant like AstraZeneca. It's a relatively small price for a massive opportunity to lead the charge in the next generation of metabolic treatments. The core idea is to tackle a major and often overlooked side effect of today's blockbuster weight loss drugs like Ozempic and Mounjaro. So what's the problem with these drugs? Well, they're incredibly effective at helping people lose weight. A significant portion of that weight loss, sometimes up to 20%, comes from lean muscle mass. Losing muscle is a serious issue. It can lead to weakness, reduced mobility, and a slower metabolism, making it harder to keep the weight off long term. This is where SixPeaks Bio comes in. Their lead program is a groundbreaking bispecific antibody. Its goal is to block specific receptors in the body, known as activin type II-A and II-B, which are involved in muscle degradation. Think of it this way: current drugs help you lose fat, but you also lose muscle. The SixPeaks therapy is designed to be used alongside these drugs to protect your muscle while you're still shedding fat. The value proposition is simple but powerful: fat loss plus muscle preservation. This completely changes the game. Success is no longer just about the number on the scale. It's about retaining strength, function, and quality of life. For patients, this means staying active and mobile. For doctors, it means better patient adherence because side effects like fatigue and weakness are reduced. And for insurance payers, it means lower long-term costs associated with frailty and falls, especially in older adults. This therapy could be a game changer, offered either on its own or as a powerful combination with existing weight loss medications. Now, let's talk about the market. It's huge. Over 1 billion adults worldwide are affected by obesity, and the anti-obesity drug market is expected to rocket past $100 billion by the early 2030s. Within this massive market, the muscle preservation niche is a rapidly emerging opportunity. We're talking about patients on GLP-1 drugs who are at high risk of muscle loss, particularly older adults or those who are already frail. If we estimate that about a third of the people treated for obesity fall into this category, the market for muscle-preserving treatments could be worth $15 to $30 billion globally. This is a perfect storm of technology and market demand. On one hand, we have incredible new innovations in antibody engineering. On the other hand, there's a growing demand from both patients and doctors for better functional outcomes, not just weight loss. People are becoming more aware of the long-term drawbacks of current treatments, and they're looking for solutions that support overall health. So who are the main players in this space? Right now, Novo, Nordisk, and Eli Lilly are the undisputed kings of the weight loss market with their GLP-1 drugs. But their focus is on weight reduction, not body composition. Other big names like Pfizer and Amgen are working on new oral versions of these drugs to make them more convenient, but they aren't directly addressing the muscle loss problem. This is where AstraZeneca has carved out a unique and defensible position. Instead of going head-to-head with the giants on pure weight loss power, AstraZeneca is differentiating itself by focusing on metabolic quality. They are essentially saying, let them handle the fat loss. We will own the muscle. This clever strategy allows them to create their own niche and even collaborate with the very companies they might otherwise compete against. It's a parallel path that complements, rather than competes with, the current market leaders. How will they get this new therapy to patients? AstraZeneca will likely target specific groups first, like adults over 50 or those with a condition called sarcopenic obesity, which is a combination of low muscle mass and high body fat. They'll need to work closely with insurance companies, using real-world evidence to show that preserving muscle leads to better health outcomes and lower healthcare costs down the line. Educating doctors about the importance of muscle health will also be key. No, what about the price? If this therapy is positioned as an add-on to a GLP-1 drug, which can cost around $1,000 a month, AstraZeneca could potentially charge a premium of 20 to 30% for the added benefit of muscle preservation. Alternatively, if it's approved as a standalone treatment, it could be priced similarly to other high-end biologics, with its value justified by long-term health economic data. We'll likely see value-based contracts, where reimbursement is tied directly to measurable improvements in the patient's functional independence and metabolic health. Let's turn to the financial side. AstraZeneca is a massive company with a market cap of around $260 billion. The $300 million price tag for SixPeaks is a drop in the bucket. The real value here is the strategic optionality it's a calculated bet on. A future market, the short-term impact on earnings will be negligible, but the long-term potential is enormous. There are several key milestones to watch for. First, the submission for first-in-human trials. Then early-phase clinical data that hopefully shows both fat reduction and muscle preservation. After that, we'll be watching for regulatory guidance and the start of large-scale phase 3 trials. Each of these steps, if successful, could significantly increase the value of this program. So, what's the 5-year outlook? In a baseline scenario, AstraZeneca's core business continues to grow steadily. But in an upside scenario, where the SixPeaks therapy is a success, we could see a launch by 2029. Capturing even a small slice of that $15 billion muscle preservation market could add $1 to $1.5 billion in new revenue, potentially adding significant value to the stock price. The downside? If the science doesn't pan out, the financial impact is minimal. It's a classic high upside, low downside bet. Of course, no venture is without risks. The science behind activin-receptor modulation is still relatively new in humans, so safety will be a major focus. It might also be difficult to prove in a clinical trial that preserving muscle leads to a statistically significant improvement in function. Regulators will need to be convinced, and payers will need to be shown clear, real-world benefits to justify a premium price. And of course, there's always the risk that competitors will catch up and develop their own muscle-preserving therapies. To sum it all up, AstraZeneca's acquisition of SixPeaks Bio is a landmark move. It signals a shift in how we think about treating obesity. The goal is no longer just weight loss. It's comprehensive metabolic health, which includes preserving vital muscle mass and function. By targeting this underserved niche, AstraZeneca is positioning itself to own muscle in a market obsessed with fat loss. For investors, this deal represents a smart, asymmetric bet on the future of metabolic medicine. It's a calculated risk with the potential to create a new therapeutic category and unlock significant value. This is definitely a story we'll be following closely. Thanks for watching. If you found this analysis helpful, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. See you in the next video.